trying to do it every year. I hope you enjoyed it.
I feel like you can't call it an NRL Magic round without magicians.
How would that translate in the hard-hitting world of rugby league?
I think they'd be good with the sleight of hand, the deft passes.
Maybe the dummy?
Yeah, but when it comes to putting their body on the line, I think they'd probably get really seriously injured. We need to do something about the amount of time it takes a sin-bin player to exit the field. What about any player getting sin-bin for the Titans? We say, if you get off in the next 10 seconds...
we'll sign you up to another team.
Or we'll offer you a premiership.
They're not going to believe it.
We should look to markets that no other sport is looking at.
Okay.
And that's why I'm suggesting war-torn Yemen.
You're really going to see Addo Carr at his fastest.
I think so, especially when he's trying to outrun a mortar bomb.
Yeah, if he's under fire, he's going to be running.
Hello and welcome to another exciting edition of The Voluntary Tackle, the only NRL podcast prepared to infect Bryce Cartwright with the smallpox virus and then sell tickets to his decomposing carcass.
Really, whatever it takes.
Today on the show, we'll be discussing that very topic along with a whole range of NRL issues. But first, I'm joined in the studio by the only man who claims to have braided the pubic hair of Karl Lagerfeld to make it look like Millie from Milli Vanilli. That sucker for late 80s pop culture I speak of is, of course, Chip Jones.
Wasn't easy. That was a lot of fumbling, twisting. You know, you've got to go back around itself.
Is that right?
There's like a braiding technique.
He was quite elderly too, so I'm assuming the hair on Lagerfeld wouldn't have been particularly pliable.
Well, firstly, he liked to be called Charlie, I remember.
Okay.
I didn't call him Lagerfeld.
Were you upset with your braided masterpiece that it died along with Karl Lagerfeld? Because, I'm assuming his pubic hair would have remained on his body, unless, of course, it was an open casket, and then, obviously, your painting would go on display.
I did try and show up at the funeral.
What happened?
They didn't let me in.
But look, enough of ageing relics from Europe, because we're about to get very red, white and blue.
You know, this is going to be difficult for a lot of our listeners to sit through. But then, you know what I think? Well, that's like most of the show. Get over it.
Yeah, most of it's pretty difficult
most
to sit
of it's
through.
pretty tough. So,
because if we said, skip through the bad bits, they just go to the credits.
They'd pretty much go to that bit at the end where I said, something funny or something like that.
Yeah, or at least attempted to, and then they'd unsubscribe.
Have we got any subscribers?
No.
Okay.
No. But I'm saying in theory.
In theory, if we had a subscriber.
Yeah, they'd probably unsubscribe if we gave them that advice. So let's not do that.
Let's talk about the Roosters winning everything.
Now, it is a bit of an issue, I think, for hardcore Roosters fans, and we might call it a problem and call us spoiled if you will, but 2018 was a very fruitful year for us, Chip. We won the minor premiership, we won the major premiership, We've now won the World Club Challenge early this year. We're also Blues fans, so we won Origin.
We won the Blues, we won with the Blues as well, which was a lot of Roosters players as well, to be fair.
That's right. A lot of representatives all came from our club. I think we won a lot of Dally M sort of stuff, Robbo, Coach of the Year. And I guess the question on the show today is there any compensation that the NRL should provide Roosters fans who are becoming, I think, a bit too jarred or vague to our own success?
Yeah, well, it's a tough one, because I think the NRL could do more for Roosters fans. I mean, we don't even have a fucking stadium anymore.
Is it true they're actually going to create a stadium that looks a bit like the Taj Mahal? It'd be good to be playing in a stadium that really reflects our salary cap.
That would be a good idea.
So lots of rupees, lots of diamonds, those big turrets.
Could we have some columns?
I think so.
Could we get some marble columns, like for corner posts or something?
I actually think the whole field should be made out of marble.
Could we get a marble goal post? Because that'd be where you start, right?
I don't know how we got here, but I like it as an idea.
Well, here we are. How do you fire up the players pre-match? Like, what do you say to Roddy Palmer?
Well, he's not with us anymore.
Or what does one say to the fitness coach that's taking your team out? And they're like, yeah, well, mate, I just finished my cigarette. I've got, half my latte left.
So in other words, what do you say to the team that's got everything?
Yeah. Or what do you get the man who's got everything for a birthday present?
Probably hookers.
Yeah.
I don't know, but like really exotic ones.
Okay, like different ones.
Yeah.
Not probably your run of the mill. Not what you got him last week or his grandma got him. You're going for,
I'd probably get him an Inuit.
An
like
Inuit?
A really hot Inuit.
And they're hard to find. What about like a Mongolian?
You can find those.
Yeah.
I think you'd have to offer a little bit more, to be honest.
Okay.
To really incentivise a Roosters player to go out there and give it 110.
To go the Mongo.
Now, we've talked on the show before, Chip, about potentially creating some kind of handicaps for players and teams. Could it be the case that the Roosters, having won everything, just restate that, that they might need to be handicapped in 2019? Now, you've suggested this in the past, and I think it's worth talking about again, like they do with racehorses.
Yep.
It might be a good idea to put the sandbags on the side of a few of the players, just to slow them down a bit and bring them back to the even keel.
Well, I think we go another 3 or 4 premierships in a row, and then we can start talking about pegging them back a bit. Because, I think let's just see out 19 and 20. And if we really are bored of winning absolutely everything, then I don't think sandbags or saddlebags is really out of the question.
What about, Chip, if we started getting players who are shit from yesteryear to start playing for us again? Chris Walker comes to mind.
See, I just feel like we've done that.
Well, we certainly did.
I feel like we've been there and we've done that.
We went for a lot of pain.
We did it successfully with some. Brett Mullins.
That's right. We actually
unbelievable.
We won a comp with Brett.
That guy just came out of he was okay. He was a great. He was a great player, but he was in the twilight of his career. Everyone said this might be a mistake, and he was a freak that year.
He was in the haze of coke of his career, if I remember rightly.
He was in the coke haze. That's where you want to be.
Actually, when he used to run really fast, you could see the silhouette of coke that would come off him.
Actually see the powder.
Yeah.
Like the powder sheen running behind him.
That's right. And very few sidelines left post-game for
Very
Brett.
few, yeah. That was like that Robbie Fowler thing for Man United.
Exactly. Yeah, he used to just clean those lines up.
Snort that touchline.
And he wasn't even sure. He goes, I think it's paint, but I'm not going to risk it.
But hey, even if it is, let's sniff it.
Yeah, it's going to give me some kind of high.
It'll get me somewhere.
Yeah. Certainly playing for the Raiders in the mid to late 90s didn't give him any highs.
That's not great.
Okay.
I've got the one player I want you to bring back. Martin Offier.
So the guy who carved up in the English Super League came out and broke his arm for us and then fucked off home.
Yep. I want to see that guy actually do some fucking damage for the... how much do we pay for him? He owes us.
Now we'd pay nothing. He's about a 55-year-old man.
Bring him back. I'm sure he's still quick.
I've had this idea before, Chip, and this is genuine. I love the idea of having a 1 to 16 team and an X Factor 17th person who's just a fan. Okay. And it's drawn out of a lucky dip.
I get the feeling this has come out of a dream for you. Like there's some deep need to be on that field. And you're thinking, well, I'm never going to make it training for the side. I'm never going to get in there through scouting. No one's ever going to see me. I'm past that age. But if we just had a wild card entry, just that one chance that I could be the fan that comes onto the field for that conversion from the sideline, 1 point down with 10 seconds left. Am I close?
You're way off. Oh. And I'll tell you why, because I'm quite a realist / self-denigrator. So if my name came out of the hat, that I'd feel a bit like when people's names came out during conscription in Vietnam. I'd be scared shitless.
You'd be scared, okay.
The idea of me going on with my mid-30s body, which was not fit, by the way, in its mid-20s.
It wasn't great in the 19
no.
and the 20 and the 21st.
It's never had
birthdays.
A heyday.
Yeah, that's right.
It's never had a...
It's probably not yet either.
Yeah.
Is there one coming?
It's never had a peak. So to go on and play first graders, I'd be horribly injured. There's actually zero doubt that if I went on, someone, say it was a kick return from a kickoff.
Oh, that would be perfect.
There's no doubt that my vertebrae would end up in different places on the field.
So let's play that out. So the whistle goes, the hand goes up, the ball is booted.
Yep.
It's flying end over end down towards you, and Jake Friend catches it and looks at you, and although you're screaming, no, the ball comes to you. You catch the ball, you start running. What happens next?
Well, I wouldn't be running towards the other team.
No, I wouldn't have thought so.
You'd be running for the dugout.
You'd probably be running for the queue at the bloody beer line, I would think.
Well, just out of the ground.
Just first of all, get away from those freaks that are trying to hurt me.
Yeah. You know what the real painful irony here is, Chip, is even if I took the ball and just ran towards my own dead ball line, I'm so slow that they'd catch me and fuck me up anyway. So it would just be a suicide footy. Mm-hmm. So the bottom line is, no, I don't want to be a part of that scene.
Great TV.
But my point being, to say it wasn't me, and they drew out someone's name who actually opted in.
As long as it's someone else.
But they opted in is important. It has to be consensual.
Okay. Because
Okay.
then you can't be forced to do it. So you've got every option out. You're out. It's not happening for you, but there'll be someone out there crazy enough
That
to
would-
think
absolutely.
that they can hit that ball up.
Of course.
Okay.
There'd be a number of nitwits that would love to run on.
Could we do this? Could this be a halftime special?
I think they should have to play a whole half. I'm picturing, like, I don't know, some guy named Gary. He's an accountant from...
Gotta be Gary.
Yeah, he's an accountant from Bronte. He's 58. He hasn't run since college.
But he plays a little touch footy and he thinks he's not bad.
He plays it, with his mates at a barbecue annually.
Yep.
And he goes, I think I probably could step Latrell.
Yep.
And then, of course, he runs on, tries to step, and just has his head taken off.
Just actually the impact of the shoulder on his chest pops his eye. We'll just let's pop an eye.
Stuff comes out of him. Like, just off every orifice.
He actually has the stuffing knocked out of him.
Yeah, stuff that we didn't even know was in him. It'd be a bit like he'd just go instantly concave. Like that
Okay,
first
yes,
hit up.
yes,
He would
that's right.
He would cease being a three-dimensional person, and he'd just be a sort of crescent-shaped 2D
Yep.
with all the stuffings gone.
Yep.
A bit like if you threw a bowling ball at a small beanbag.
Because there's that spittle that goes as well. You notice in those big shots, there's like spray that comes off the head.
Yes.
But there's also sometimes just that beautiful spittle.
Now it's time for our favourite segment.
Ban 'em, praise 'em, or fine 'em.
Back by popular demand, we had 3 people say, it's not bad. So we thought we'd bring it back as a segment, Chip. Ban them, praise them, or fine them.
I think it's our most successful segment yet.
And you're basing that on what
We've
metric?
had 3 people say it's not bad.
That's off the charts
That's
for
like
us, isn't it?
ringing off the hook, basically.
It's about taxing, Chip, your sage counsel, your immense cognitive ability, throwing very complex social problems at you, rapid fire,
Yep.
and just seeing, what the ethical way forward is, which is what we love about you. So this is all going to be a series of leaked videos, and I want you to tell me if we should ban them, praise them, or fine them. The first video that emerges online is that of Marcus Bai fornicating with a give way sign. Now, don't answer just yet, because here's the kicker. It was in heavy traffic.
See, I'd praise that.
Okay. But he'd probably be holding up traffic, though, wouldn't he?
Well, I think it's an art nouveau statement against the calamity that is trying to drive in this country in peak hour.
You think he's making a social statement
I
about
think
traffic?
he's just saying, you know what, fuck it.
Okay.
And I think, why not?
Are you giving Bai a bit too much credit? Maybe he's just horny for polls.
Well, that's okay too. You can still get a reasonably good deal to Poland, and while they're in the Euro, I mean, there's lots of girls there that would be happy to, I'm sure, hang out and, buy them dinner or something. And
Next one on the card, mate. It's a leaked video of Joey Johns discussing how much money he can make by faking a seizure.
you should probably fine him for that.
Because he's lied to the nation, hasn't he?
Yeah, but you know what? I reckon we should fine him the amount he thought he'd make, just to teach him.
Okay.
You're not going to get away with it, mate.
Would you fine him that same amount of money per seizure? Because he's had quite a few over the last few years.
How many of them are genuine?
Well, in this scenario, none of them.
Yeah, but the previous ones, because if he's got history...
Well, I think it would be very perplexing, Chip, for him to have had genuine seizures and then come up with a money-making scheme to fake seizures.
So you're basically saying all of those seizures, they're gone. They weren't real.
I'd say so.
Yeah.
If he's got form on the board for faking seizures, the chances are he's always faked those seizures.
Yeah, I see what you're saying.
So in that case, you'd like to fine him?
If that's the case, I think we should fine him per seizure.
Okay, how much
Definitely.
money exactly? Per shake?
Oh, well... That's a great question, actually. Could we get some kind of Geiger counter in there and measure some kind of Richter scale? Pop them in a bath with
Possibly.
some water or something like that, and try and measure the wave displacement so we can work out.
It's very scientific. I like it. It's a bit like one of those old-fashioned whip rounds. When you rattle the money box.
Yeah.
So every whip, that could be $1,000 cash.
Yeah.
Quite like that. You've solved that one for me. I'm ready to move on. Another leak video comes out. It's Darren Albert He's caught
Yeah,
changing.
just ban him.
He's caught changing into a fat suit that turns out to be Rebel Wilson.
Oh, this is interesting. Is that why she's now become talented?
Well, yeah, because Darren was very a prolific try
Because
scorer.
he was quite good, wasn't he?
He was never that funny,
No.
to be fair.
Maybe he's just like trying to go into a new genre.
Too busy scoring tries.
Mm.
So if it turned out that Rebel Wilson wasn't a real person, and
Yeah.
in fact Darren Albert had been
It was Darren
inhabiting,
Albert, yeah.
I mean, what would you do in that case? Would you? I mean, you ban them from what?
You've got to praise him, really.
I think so.
Oh, you've got to praise him for getting away with it.
Well done, Albert. You've
Yeah.
cracked Hollywood.
Yeah. I mean, that
Um,
can't be easy.
No,
I mean, I know that cracking the 10 metre... I mean, the try line is hard.
Tough
You've
enough.
done that plenty of times.
yeah.
Hollywood, you know.
You've managed to crack Bauer Media's legal team.
Yep.
Which was tough. Although
That can't
you,
be easy.
you lost on appeal, but that you don't win
Yeah.
everything.
Yeah.
I'd say I'm actually with you there. I definitely praise him.
Yeah,
But by what degree would you praise him? Would you go, I'm going to buy you a beer, Rebel? Would you call him Rebel or Darren?
Well, see, now you're getting into that really interesting problem with transsexual people.
I didn't mean to.
Well, what's the correct? Is it Z or Zer, or is there some? I think we're going to have to get Jordan Peterson on here to try and fix this up for us.
To be honest, he's not changing genders. He's just in a fat suit.
Oh,
He's
okay.
still Darren Albert.
Yeah.
I
Well,
don't
then
think-
just call him Darren.
No need to wade into that murky water. And of the last video for the segment, it's a video that emerges of Sam Icemonger licking coal at the Adani coal mine.
See, this is where you've almost got to, if you can't strip him of his citizenship, you've got to deport him. I think we're going to have to go with ban him, but from the country.
Okay, so that you've sort of wiggled roomed your way around that one.
Yeah.
So deport him, a form of ban.
Yeah.
So ban him from having Australian
Yeah.
liberty.
Yeah, pretty much.
Where would you send him?
China.
Okay.
With the coal. Just fuck off with your
Right.
coal. See ya.
Okay.
Yeah.
So in a way, Sam Icemonger sort of become an international commodity.
Yeah.
What would the Chinese do with a retired forward who was never great in his prime?
He'd probably be centre stage in Chinese rugby league, I think.
He'd be kick-ass.
I think he'd
in
be probably
Chinese
he'd be the
NRL.
best 5'8" they've ever had, I would think.
I mean, yeah. I mean, he's never even played that position, but it wouldn't matter.
Would know.
No. So you think it would just be a team of, people who are fairly illiterate in the game of rugby league playing Sam Icemonger in Beijing and them getting their ass kicked?
Pretty much.
Lovely.
I mean he comes out all right in that deal.
That was...
Ban 'em, praise 'em, or fine 'em.
Now, Chip, Bryce Cartwright and his partner recently declared to the world that they will not be vaccinating their kids. The first of 17 more to come, I'm sure. Being the learned man that Bryce is, he's read up on this. This is a direct quote from the Telegraph. He said he'd read all of the relevant literature about germ theory, in quotes. And after a few empirically peer-reviewed articles, obviously, he's probably gone through quite a few studies, he and his wife decided that his kids don't need to be vaccinated. In fact, there's another quote here from his wife, Chanel. He said, Bryce sat down with me and he read a package insert and a few pages of Dr. Suzanne Humphrey's books and saw vaccines in a very different light. And now here we are. My question to the show is this, Chip. If Bryce's kids end up causing an epidemic of polio on the Gold Coast, is that a good thing?
Could be.
There'd be less of them around.
Could be.
Less aggro.
I mean, look, if he's got the only kids that aren't vaccinated against polio, then it'll only be them that have a problem, won't it? Because everyone else is vaccinated.
Well, the more people you have that aren't vaccinated, the higher the chance of what we call outbreaks. So if we get smallpox, for example, say little mini Cartwrights are running around the Gold Coast with smallpox virus, the chances are they might mutate and then he might infect others.
So the vaccine would be useless, therefore.
Not if everyone's vaccinated at once.
Right.
So if you get enough people not
So
vaccinated...
can we not just get some trucks, all right, get some guns, and go street to street? Let's just get everyone in a truck, okay?
I think that already happens on the Gold Coast.
We don't care if you're elderly. We don't care if you're already vaccinated, whatever. We're going to stick you with some needles and get it done. Problem solved.
Well, I think, as I said, that's happening en masse on the Gold Coast already, but I think it's more recreational drug use.
I see.
People going door to door
They're
with
like
shotties.
self-vaccinating
Yes,
against,
sort of.
some kind of malaise.
Vaccinating against legality, I guess, in a sense. They're
Can-
going, have a shiv of fucking Ice.
Yep.
Get that in you.
Yep.
Stitch that, Jimmy.
Can you shiv someone with ice? Would they be happy with that? I mean, if you're an ice addict and they said, well, I'll give you some ice, but I'm going to shiv you with it, would they be like, yeah, okay?
Probably. In fact, they're probably not in their right minds. They wouldn't even be thankful or belligerent.
Or aware?
No. They're just like, oh, more ice.
I'm being stabbed.
Now, if Bryce, for example, his kids, say this ends up being a thing where he, manages
He infects the world. Let's go for it.
Well, let's not start with it. Let's start with the NRL.
Okay.
Okay.
Sorry.
And we had diseases starting to run rampant among players in the NRL, all because of Bryce Cartwright.
Yep.
Which team would you like to see infected first?
Auckland. Let's get it over the border. Let's get it out of the country.
Let's make it a pandemic.
Yeah, let's do a test case. So we'll just test it over there. We'll see how they go. And, if we feel like importing it to Queensland for the Origin series, then I'm all for it.
Is there a particular disease you'd like to see in New Zealand?
No.
Black Death?
Not really. Bit racist.
Well, it's not about the colour, mate.
Bit racist.
Let's make it White Death.
Yeah, white also arguably racist.
Yeah. Non-colour chromal
Just death. Just death.
Right.
Yeah. I don't think we should kill New Zealand.
Oh, no, I certainly would.
I don't think we could.
No, they're a resilient bunch, aren't they?
Yeah, they're pretty tough.
Yeah, we tried to do that way back in the day. And
They're pretty tough.
remember we lured them to Gallipoli? We said, come along, fellas.
Yeah,
we'll definitely win.
We'll be fine. The English are right behind us. They're going
Yeah.
to tell us when to run.
Oh, the Turks don't know a thing.
Oh, mate, don't worry. No, it's
Yeah.
the beach around the corner.
Yeah, we'll meet you there.
It's not that beach.
There's a pub here.
Yeah.
We'll go after you.
We'll see you there.
Yeah, classic Aussie style, wasn't it? So we've tried it once in history before. Why not try it again, this time with something like polio? Again, just to test out their own resilience in a way.
So what would okay, so you infect New Zealand with polio by way of Cartwright. And for some reason the let's say the native New Zealanders or the Maori for some reason are unaffected.
You're immune.
They have a resilience to said virus. Where do you go from there?
Well, I think the nation would quadruple in size. I mean, they're a lot bigger, aren't they, Maoris, than your white Kiwis. They'd probably be a lot better than at footy on aggregate.
I think that's pretty true.
They do the haka a lot better if they didn't have the white guys in there.
Yeah. Now, see, that's an interesting thing that you say there because I think the white guys give it a lot.
They try.
They try.
You ever seen Kieran Foran try to do it?
I've seen him try.
Yeah.
Richie McCaw did a decent haka. I know that's rugby again, but he's pretty white.
They're few and far between, though, aren't they?
Yeah, I have to give you that.
I mean, when you see the tongues come out and it's the war dance, and then you see someone who's 5'5", skinny and white,
Yep.
It almost makes a mockery of it.
I wouldn't want to make a mockery of the haka. I just wouldn't want to go there.
I'd like to see the Broncos potentially taken down with polio.
Yep.
Maybe not the whole team, just the wingers.
Yep. Okay.
So that
Which is fair.
Yeah. So they'd be immobilised. Obviously, they'd be in an iron lung. They could still come in the iron lung on the field.
Are they going to play on?
Yes.
Well, look, I'm all for it. Let's just infect them.
Do you know? I get the feeling Corey Oates would still be good in an iron lung. He's a very good player.
Do you reckon he'd kick as far?
No. Chip, I have something to put to you. No, it's nothing sexual. Don't worry about it. I've asked you several times, and you've said no each time. I respect it.
Yep.
The reason I bring it up is I want to know: do you think our show is misogynist?
Well, let me ask you this: if you were a female, what would your name be?
Sheila.
Really?
Oh fuck! I fucked it, didn't I?
Yep.
No, I actually refute that, Chip. I don't think we are misogynist.
Okay.
But I think our big problem is we can't get women to come near us, frankly. So it's been very difficult.
Well, speak for yourself, but
I knew you'd say that. But in the last couple of weeks, we've been going to a production meeting, which is just code for going down the pub, and we said we need some female voices on the show, basically. And guess what? I've managed to secure some.
fantastic.
We present to you Laverne and Shirley.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, Schlemiel, Schlemazel, Hasenbemp Incorporated.
We're gonna do it. Give us any chance, we'll take it. Risk any room.
Girls, G'day.
Hello.
Hello.
Welcome to the show.
It's nice to be here.
You guys didn't see, but there was like a blind. He pulled us from it. It was magical.
We finally got an invite.
Exactly. It's been a long time coming on the show. In fact, a lot of our listeners said we'd never do this, said it couldn't be done. Women wouldn't come near us. But as it turned out, we didn't have to pay you guys too much, did we?
Just the rest of my life.
So that is Shirley. Shirley, you are indeed my wife. I don't know if it's a spoiler alert for the listeners or not. And who have we got in Laverne here?
This is my other wife. It's a part-time relationship between the two of us, somewhere between March and October. Similar situation for Laverne, so we've just decided that during that time, we're each other's girlfriends.
That's right.
So we see you guys in the off-season. We're like a full-time husband or partner in the off-season, but then when footy season's on, you guys just need to hang together.
And it's really hard because you keep saying on this podcast that there is no off-season for the voluntary jackal, which is killing me.
I know. It's killing the marriage, isn't it? But it's very nice to have you guys in the studio with us today because we wanted to get a bit of a female point of view on the game of the NRL. Now, you may or may not know this, but the NRL is it's got a bit of an identity crisis when it comes to women, particularly in the last couple of months. There's been a lot of unsavoury incidents going on in the off-season. How do you look upon that when it comes to the game? Are you like, does it turn you off the game? Do you think NRL players are dickheads by and large?
Oh, sorry, I'm nodding.
Laverne's getting used to the non-visual media.
Exactly. So it's a yes from Laverne. Do you have any thoughts on that, Shirley? I mean, do you think when you see a rugby league player out, say you're down at the park walking the dog, even though you don't own one, be weird. You're down there, you see an NRL player, do you think, oh, I hope he doesn't rape me?
It's not my first thought.
Yeah, probably not right. But like if you were in a dark alley with them, like would you be comfortable?
Would I be comfortable? I mean, I'd probably go...
I mean, not you, Shirley.
Yeah, exactly. Would you be comfortable, Shirley?
I don't think I'm comfortable with any man in a dark alley. But I think the physical size thing is definitely intimidating, but maybe not threatening. I mean, we also know who these guys are, so we have like a free rapist alert.
Oh, okay. Do you think that should be a thing where, like, maybe you get an app where it alerts you to your proximity of an NRL player to prevent rapes?
Might work.
It needs to be workshopped. For the record, can you let the listeners know who you support?
Roosters.
Roosters fan for Laverne.
This isn't a fair question to be on, like, the air. This is, controversy between us. But
Seems like a pretty straightforward question to me.
Well, I'm a Melbourne Storm supporter, but I made some bold claims back earlier in the relationship that maybe if you won a few grand finals that I'd become a Roosters supporter as well.
One down.
Kind of reneged on that deal.
You have. And I can actually add a little bit more detail to that. Shirley told me when we got married that being married to me was a thing that would convert her to a Roosters fan. We got married, honeymoon was awesome, and then she continued to wear her Melbourne Storm gear for the next couple of months and in fact forever since. And it sort of made me question your honesty.
She got you good.
Makes me wonder what else you're going to lie about.
Sickness and in health.
So you are still a Melbourne Storm fan?
I am, but it's that weird... I feel like I'm in a process of maybe I'll break up with them, but I don't want to because it's that relationship that I like too much to let go of.
Okay, so you've had it your whole life and you don't want to see it burn.
Yeah.
Bit like the grand final last year. That burned, didn't it?
Yeah, when you're in a room full of your family supporting the Roosters and I had to very quietly cry on my own.
These wounds are still raw. Laverne, you said Roosters. Why are you a Chooks fan?
Good question. Probably by default of where I live.
Right, so you're from the east.
That's right.
So you're born and bred, although I don't want to give away your postcode. It's probably getting a bit too personal. But I was going to say, you do live kind of on a border
I do.
with another club which
Yep.
don't like the Roosters very much. So you're sort of on the cusp of where the Souths fans and the Roosters fans would
Yep.
sort of congregate and sort of yell at each other and throw stones at each other. Do you ever see that kind of animosity on the streets? Does it ever spill out on the streets of the border of where you live?
Oh, wow. I mean, I probably see more of that on Facebook than on the street.
Cyber violence. We know how it is. There's a little segment within a segment here we're going to call Hot or Not.
Yes. I've been looking
now-
forward to this.
This is something we've had to implement due to popular demand, i.e. yourselves have asked that this be included.
This is the only conversation we have during the games. It's got to be here.
I probably need to, what I probably should do is bring up some visuals for you
Oh,
guys.
yeah.
We can tell you who the not ones are.
Okay, who are the not
Oh,
ones?
that's a long list.
It is a longer list. We've they're fresh in the brain. Who is not hot? Now I've got to remember their names, and you know how good I am with names. English guy, Bulldogs.
Oh, yeah.
James Graham.
rough
James
looking
Graham.
one. Yep.
James
Not.
Graham's in the not list. I think he could be a good person. I've actually seen him in a cafe before. Looks polite. Doesn't look so good.
All right, guys, we're going to bring up our first visual here. You're not going to know who this person is because I don't want you to be coloured.
Stop it.
So
Isn't that like the Jack DeBellin guy?
let's just knock out his backstory very quickly, just based on physical appearance.
Not.
Not. I
Look
think.
at the hair on his chin. Like, who has that?
Yeah, you're right. He's got a very distinct, almost magician look there.
Yeah, did he, like, dip his chin in, like,
Chocolate mousse.
chocolate?
Oh,
Yeah.
God knows. It's probably something he's done in his private life.
He
to be
kind
honest.
of, you know how there's that type of person, a little bit Backstreet Boys boy band that you expect to have an eyebrow ring?
Yep.
Yeah, I actually thought he had an earring here.
Like a really violent Justin Timberlake.
Yes.
Yeah, I see what you mean.
Anyway,
so
that's a not.
that's a not. So Jack DeBellin, if you're listening from jail, that is a not. So at the moment we're here, we're looking at Greg Inglis.
Not.
Yeah, also not.
Okay, you both were very quick about that. Why is that?
Drink driving's not okay.
Okay, so it's more DUI that's turned you off, Laverne. What about you, Shirley?
It's the red and green jersey.
Oh, yeah, you're right. It's thoroughly unattractive. And it certainly doesn't blend with his mouth guard there. He hasn't even colour coordinated.
He has colour coordinated. That's where you're
Oh,
wrong.
it looks
It's
like
why
it's
you
got a
need
bit of
us here
yellow
on
in there.
your
That looks
show.
pink. Pink to me.
Ah,
Anyway, look, let's not get bogged down. The next one is another rooster.
I think he's hot.
Okay, so everyone, we're looking at Cooper Cronk. So we've got a hot here from Laverne.
I think he's hot, but was hotter 2 years ago.
Was he hotter when he had his scapula intact?
He was hotter when he was wearing a different jersey.
That's controversial. So we've got a hot, and you've said sort of a bit past his prime.
It was a bit nice to see him, a bit emotional.
Okay, so it was
His
more.
delicate side, like, oh, yeah, not so rough after all.
Okay, so it was more beyond the physical for you, Laverne.
Yeah,
It was more
yeah.
about the emotional side that he showed on the field. That's interesting.
That's right.
So if Cooper Cronk was to run on the field and instead of kicking a really good 40-20, he nurtured a young child,
Yeah, that would be cute.
okay, that would actually up his ranking in the hotness?
Yeah.
Okay,
I think
interesting.
when you watch a game, and none of them look hot, let's be real.
Hmm.
But then as soon as their families come on the field, there's something like that happens to our ovaries, and they're like up 20%.
Is that how it works? Well, it's good to know.
So just find a puppy or a baby and
Yes,
immediate
sweet.
20%.
All right, the next cab off the rank here we've got is Sam Burgess.
No,
No.
Okay, so
not.
both saying absolutely not. That was very quick. Is any particular reason? Is it to do with his Facebook escapades? Or?
no, I think it's like this is going to sound weird, and I hope that Sam's never listening. Great playing for a few of those years, but his eyes go downwards.
Right. Are you trying to say he has some kind of syndrome?
No,
I'm not putting words in your mouth here, Shirley. I'm just wondering if...
I just think that his eyes, like, they're not like as
They do angle downwards, but
symmetrical.
isn't the nose more obvious?
he has had his nose busted a lot, to be fair.
To me, that's the first thing I look at.
Yeah.
And his teeth.
And his teeth, yeah. His nose is sort of running in about 9 different directions. It's almost
That's
a
right,
novagon,
yeah.
isn't it? All right, we're going to do the last one here. We're bringing up James Tedesco. How do we feel about James?
Can we get another
Yeah,
view?
you've not been nice.
Okay, he's smiling in that shot. I'm not sure what's wrong with that. It looks like
For those listening, he has like his mouth wide open. It's
He-
not a smile.
he does look a bit like Mr. Ed.
I'm going to go hot for him.
Okay.
Yeah, he's
Yeah.
not bad.
All right, so he cuts the mustard.
The other interesting that it really does depend on the photo. I think at one stage I had a bit of a Google Images session at Woods.
You like Aaron Woods.
The Aaron Woods without the hair. That was a thing that I started looking into. And
Wait, so did you put in to Google Aaron Woods alopecia? Is that what you did? And you wanted
She
to
did
completely...
Adam Wood's hot.
Oh, okay. I didn't know if you were after a completely hairless Aaron Woods. Because I thought, Jesus, I didn't know you were into that, and I'm married to you.
no, Aaron Woods short hair. You should
Can
give
we
it a
pull
go.
him up, please.
Okay, yeah, we'll have one more here. So Aaron Woods, which I have to say is a very odd choice. But look, maybe this is there's a lot about women I don't know about.
You need to go like maybe 2012.
Whoa.
So Laverne,
Shirley, what?
yeah, I got to say, Shirley, you're joking.
That's a bad photo. No, you've got to go back like
I'm
5
sorry,
years.
this is Aaron
That's,
Woods,
you know,
and there is no such thing as a good photo.
She went 5 years deep through his Instagram. Is that what you're trying to say right now?
No, this was like 3 years ago. You've
All right.
got, no, okay, without the beard, without the hair, like it wasn't bad. You've got to trust me on this
All right.
one.
Okay. Well, that was hot or not. And at the end of the day, we learned that Shirley, you were very hard to please, and Laverne, a little bit in the middle. That was Talking League with Laverne and Shirley. Thanks for coming on.
We're gonna do it. Give us any chance, we'll take it.
Now, there's only been one real game played this year so far, Chip. It was the Indigenous All-stars versus the Maori All-stars. I might be getting those names wrong, I'm not sure. But I guess grabbing even more headlines than the game, and it was a fantastic game, was the pre-game.
I mean, the Kiwis set it up as you'd expect. So the Maoris come out and do that war dance. It's got fire, it's got heart, it's got passion.
At one point, they ripped someone's head off and went,
You know, and you can really feel it.
yeah.
You know,
They shouldn't treat the refs like that. But anyway.
One thing I would say though is the response from the Indigenous team of Australia was breathtaking. They all got in a circle. They stood next to each other, and at one point, they all dropped down, and Latrell jumped up and just stared at the Maoris and said, "I'm going to win this game," and he did.
I know, you played really well, actually. Latrell. A few try
and,
assists.
You know, it was one of the because you know Aussies, or the Australian team, if you like, the green and gold, great football team.
Yeah, mainly white guys.
But you know what? We just have nothing compared to that haka. We don't get there. We've got no match for it. But this Indigenous team, they've got some moves.
I agree.
They've got some dance moves to go up against the haka, and I'd like to see more of it.
But it is a good thing, isn't it? Because as you said before, the New Zealand team would always be very impressive with the haka. They come up to the Australian, and all we had in return was singing a song about us being girt by sea.
Yep.
And it was never that impressive.
No.
Most of the time we didn't know the words.
Yep.
Even the people who did know the words went, these are shit words.
Yep.
My heart's not in it. A bit like when you're, at a concert you don't like.
Mm-hmm.
Say someone drags me across to a Miley Cyrus concert.
Yep.
I don't give a shit if there's a wrecking ball.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
I'm
exactly.
not, moshing as hard as I normally would.
Yeah. Probably not crowd surfing at all, really, at that show.
No. Probably every now and then grab a breast.
Yeah. Well,
but
that's normal.
yeah,
You
but
do
I-
that on a Sunday morning
I
in a
would-
cafe.
I would ask first.
Yeah.
I want that to be very clear. But it is very nice to see the Indigenous team have some kind of cultural match. And I'll tell you, I don't know if there's it's a bit like, in the Oscars where an acceptance speech goes for too long. It almost did border on going a bit long, didn't it? Because I think it took up about 40 minutes.
It was a little bit long. What was really interesting is afterwards when I watched the highlight reel, it took up most of the highlight reel was actually the haka and the Indigenous war dance. But I've got to say, that was fine.
I didn't mind it.
I really think we ought to do some TV series of just war dances. Like Married at First Sight kind of thing, like war dance at first arrival or something. I don't know.
Could we just pack it into kind of like shitty Australian soaps, like Doctor Doctor?
Yep.
We could just have instead of like the prelude where that she's going to fall in love with the doctor. There's suddenly Latrell Mitchell comes in and he's an aggressive kangaroo.
Yep.
And he says he spears the doctor.
Yep.
Holds him up like a shish kebab.
Yep.
And then has his way with the woman.
Yep.
That's probably not exactly where the show wants to go, but
Fuck, I'd watch it. Definitely.
I'd probably watch it for a bit, and then I'd be a bit too disturbed to continue.
Then I'd be a bit like, I've now wanked off, and I kind of getting a bit over it now. Could we have like the war dance at the beginning of Neighbours? So instead of the theme song, Neighbours, could we actually have a war dance?
And could we have a giant cauldron where they boil Harold? That'd be amazing. I don't think he's even on the show anymore.
Flaming, fucking boiling.
Cook him up, skin him up,
Yep.
and then put him on one of those rotating spits.
Doesn't he have some kind of chili sauce that would go well with his cooked body.
I've never tried any Harold.
He's got some. Is that the guy, Flamin' Hell Alf? No, I'm thinking Alf.
That's Alf.
That's Home and Away.
That's Ray Ma.
That's because he's got hot sauce. He sells hot sauce. I don't know whether you know this, but
I had no idea.
he sells hot sauce. Maybe we could get some of his hot sauce
Tell me
in
more.
the pot.
Tell me more Ray Ma facts.
That's kind of all I've got, really. I didn't know much. I didn't even know his name. I didn't care to know.
No.
But now you've
I've put you on the spot.
now you've.
He's won a gold Logie.
Oh, that's high. I mean, you've made it. There's only that and being a character in The Simpsons. Really, they're the two.
If someone gave you a gold Logie, would you keep it?
Are we talking real gold?
No, of course not.
No, we're talking
it's a
one of
Logie.
the synthetic,
It's made of lead.
kind of,
And the poisonous type.
regional television award.
Give it a bit of friction and the gold comes straight off.
Yeah,
I only know that because I stole one once.
Oh, did you?
And then I was pretty high at the time and I stuck it where I shouldn't have and it actually came off.
Okay.
Yeah.
Did you get the rest of it out?
I think to this day, the anus has a real sheen.
Okay. You've passed most of it then.
Yeah, I'd say so by
You've
now.
passed most of it.
Yeah, it comes out in flakes.
Look, if I got a gold logo, the first thing I'd try and do is gamble it at the casino. I mean, I know that, but that's my standard for any kind of...
So you'd go, I've got a gold Logie, I put it on 2 black.
Yeah.
Okay. Would they accept that as a croupier?
Yeah.
Probably not.
Probably not.
Now, Chip, back when we were more able-bodied, let's put it that way, we used to play touch footy pretty regularly. And at one point, sadly, we didn't have the numbers to form a full
I love
team.
this story.
I love this story because I think it really says a lot about your competitive nature, Chip. Now, what happens in this particular competition, which will remain nameless, if you don't have enough players, you usually get donated a few, but you don't know if they're good or bad. It turns out this one year, the person who ran the comp said, yeah, we've got an extra. He just so happened to have cerebral palsy. Now, there's nothing against that. I think it was great that he was down there giving it a go. But there's a particular story that I tell pretty regularly. It was during a pretty, I think it might have even been a final. We actually made a final somehow. And we were under the pump. They've spread the ball wide. Now, this guy whose name was, let's call him Jake. All right. So the opposition team had spread the ball wide. Poor old Jake was trying to get there.
They'd isolated Jake.
They isolated him, and Chippy,
Which really is horrible of them.
Chippy was he was defending near him at the time, and Jake put everything in. He went at full pace, even though one side of his body was basically paralysed, and he lunged and he missed this guy by about an inch, and they scored, and we ended up losing this game by a try. And the reason I love this story is because as Jake lay on the ground virtually convulsing, in spasm, Chip came over to him and gave him the biggest spray that I've ever remember anyone being given on the touch football field. You yelled at him quite distinctly, "You've got to fucking get there, Jake." Do you have any regrets over abusing a handicapped person on a touch football field?
Well, you see, I like to treat everybody equally.
Yeah, you're an equal opportunity offender.
So, had anyone else missed that tackle, they'd have copped the same spray. And it wouldn't be right not to spray him purely because he's got... I mean, I think that's a disgraceful thought, that he should be left out from the spray just because he's got cerebral palsy. I mean, I know that he wasn't expecting it and, maybe people thought it was harsh, but I'm inclusive. I don't care.
You were, in a way, you almost overcompensated for that, didn't you? Because I found that you berated him more than most, was my memory of it.
Yeah, but you see, I don't see people that way. I see past the legs and the condition to the person, the player.
Right. So if you saw, for example, a person with a wheelchair at the bottom of a set of stairs, you would say, "Hurry the fuck up. I'm trying to get up the stairs." You'd treat them no differently.
Well, I don't know. Do you treat people with disabilities differently? You're not supposed to.
I'm generally nicer to them, yeah. Like especially in those situations where they, as an able-bodied person, they can't do the things I can do.
Yep.
I'll usually lend an assistance.
Yeah. You feel that rubs it in?
Chip, have you heard of iTunes?
Is that one of those on the line games that you play?
Yeah, a little bit
Okay.
like porn, mate. But
Yep.
it's actually in this case, people go on there to listen to things.
Oh,
whether
I
it be
see. It's like
mu-
audio porn.
Sort of, yeah.
Yep,
And
okay.
occasionally, it's not just moaning sounds and
Yep.
orgasms. It's podcasts.
Well, you're not going to get it all the time, are you?
No,
No.
no. And in fact, you should probably stop ramming your penis
It must be
into
painful.
the USB slot. I'm sure it is painful for you. But it actually gives a bit of a thought bubble for the show. And what we thought we might do is for our listeners, our core listeners, the 7 people who we call
The
our
hardcore.
family.
The hard,
That's right.
The hardcore.
We want to have those people go to iTunes and leave us a review.
Okay.
Okay. Now, it doesn't have to be complimentary
All
because
right.
we don't want you
Well,
lying.
I wouldn't have thought that would be.
No, you'd never
Probably
call
not going for complimentary, really, are we?
Not really. But what we are going for is funny. So what we thought we might do here on the Voluntary Tackle is give away a prize to the funniest review on iTunes.
Good idea. Okay, so let's have a look around. What have we got? We've got that Foster's beer can that you brought over once.
That nobody drank. It's quite warm. And
Why don't we
old.
sign it?
Okay. What should we sign it with? Blood or?
Well, no, just a Sharpie.
Okay, we can use a Sharpie.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. So that's part of the package.
So you got one signed Foster's beer can,
Mm.
unopened.
We're really forming a hamper here, aren't we?
Yep. Well,
Uh,
there's one item.
Well, that's the beginning. That's how hampers start.
Yeah,
In fact, we're not giving away a hamper, no basket or anything. So
Okay.
don't get your hopes up.
that's good.
What we thought we might also give away, Chippy, is we've probably mentioned it a few times on the show, but we don't really have a lot of expensive equipment on the podcast, do we?
Well, not other than me.
Exactly. But we haven't really had anything to protect the microphone from, our voices. What do you call them? Windsocks? Pooper stoppers?
Something like that.
Yeah, anyway, I've been using literally an old sweat sock
Yep.
of mine.
Of yours. Yep.
Yeah, unwashed.
Yep.
Which is my own personal choice. We're actually going to be throwing that into the hamper as well.
Okay. Great.
So it's really building.
Can they choose between these items, or have you got to take all of the items?
You have to take the whole
You have
thing.
to take the whole lot.
Oh,
Okay.
yeah, it's all or nothing.
So it's going to be a Foster's signed beer can inside a sock.
We also, I thought it would be a good idea, because obviously we drink a lot of beer on the show,
We sure do.
to give some kind of remnants of a beer
Ah.
as part of the package. So we have a couple of old Asahi lids, which
Oh,
I know they're not very valuable.
These are the ones from the audio package that we put in the show. The tss.
Oh, no, we keep those. They're valuable. No, it's these ones we just cracked open now.
Oh, these are the ones
I
that
don't know if you
didn't
can
make
hear
it.
Hear that? That's
Okay.
the one I've got in my hand right now.
Will you pack that particular bottle?
The one I'm
cap?
handling
Yes.
right now.
Yes.
Look, it's down my pants. Wash it first.
Yep.
That's going into the hamper.
Oh, that's sexual.
Pop that over there. Now, we need one more item, Chip, I think, to make it of any value.
I think we should actually send them some of your hair. Now, which particular item of hair is up to you? We'll leave that. It can be ear hair if you're feeling that way. Maybe an eyebrow.
We should really let the listeners decide, shouldn't we? I'm assuming it's probably going to be non-pubic hair, because I think that might be breaching some kind of quarantine rule.
You may also have an issue. I mean, I know that you've not really that many pubic hairs yet. If you want to give up a few of them, it's very kind of you.
Are you trying to insinuate I'm follically challenged?
No, I'm just saying you're a little bit, immature.
Oh, is that right? So it's more of a
That's all.
metaphorical lack of pubes. Well, that's, I think, more insulting, but I appreciate that. So you'll probably get, I wouldn't say a lock of my hair, but certainly
A
some.
curl.
I'll give you probably 3.
We'll give you a curl. We'll give you enough.
I'll tell you what I will do. It'll be a pot puree of hairs. I'm going to give you a bit of pubic and a bit of scalp hair.
Yeah, mix it in.
Before we go to something we always like to do, we want to impart some positivity on the listenership, which is why we defer to you, Chip. Can you please leave some sage wisdom in the minds of our listeners?
Guys, when you're driving your automobile and you notice a light come on the dashboard that says, need oil, buy some oil. Once you seize that engine, your car's fucked.
See you next week.